So I finally got my seeds all organized, and I'm going to go through them and do a little bit of inventory to see if I need to order any seeds or what seeds I need to buy for this season. And I thought that'd be a great time to kind of tell you guys my favorite varieties and what my plans are to grow this season. So I have these just 2 bins of seeds that are just my saved seeds. If you save seeds from flowers, you'll soon find out you can get a lot of seeds from just a few flowers. These are all just saved seeds of flowers like calendula. I have 3 bags of those, a huge bag of marigold seeds, and then a few other random ones, like zinnias and such. This year I want to grow a ton of calendula, which isn't going to be hard with that many seeds. And also marigolds are just great to, sprinkle all around the garden. And the marigolds do really well here, and it adds that nice pop of color to the garden among many other benefits. And these ones are just, again, some other random saved seeds, a whole bunch of green onion seeds. So we'll be going through that and starting those later. And then these are really popular for organizing your seeds, or just these photo boxes you can buy. You can see this one here is very dirty. This is the one I've had for years. I put some stickers that have since faded on. So I bought actually a second one this year to try to organize my seeds because they were overflowing everywhere. And I still have actually a few empty ones in here, so that's exciting because maybe I can fill them up with more seeds. So in my new one, I actually organized it to include a bunch of my herbs and my medicinal seeds and flowers, and then the other one is strictly just for vegetables. So a quick look through the medicinal herb one. I've just kind of sorted it. I have culinary herbs. We're going to grow a lot of those this year. Your traditional thyme, oregano, all that kind of things. As far as varieties for those are all just pretty similar. The rosemary, thyme, oregano. There are a few different varieties, but I just grow whichever one I can find the seeds for, except when it comes to basil. So here, as you can see, basil has its very own container because there are tons of different types of basil out there. There's your traditional, sweet basil, Genovese basil, then you have lemon basil, and there's cinnamon basil, just a ton of ones. So I have a whole thing of basil there. And then I also have organized it kind of to include, medicinal seeds. So these are things like milk thistle, or I have some Hungarian bread seed poppies that I'm going to grow. So I'm collecting the seeds of these plants. Of course, you can organize yours however you like, but I just felt like this is what my brain wanted. So I have medicinal seeds, I have medicinal roots, things you grow for the roots. Like in here, I have my marshmallow seeds because that's what we harvest the marshmallow plant for. These are medicinal flowers that are perennial. So we've got blue vervain, we've got a lot of yarrow. I have a lot of wild yarrow that grows here. But I ordered a couple years ago the colored yarrow. So there's a yellow yarrow and a pink or red yarrow. And I do have some of that growing in the garden, but every year I just kind of want to start a little bit more in order to kind of propagate it. These are medicinal leaves, things we grow for the leaves. Got plantain in here. Some of my teas, my herbal teas like catnip and stuff like that, I put into the medicinal leaves. And then we have medicinal flowers. So there's, as you can see, there's a ton of medicinal flowers, annual ones in here, like chamomile, and I got toothache plant. So we'll probably have to do a whole video just on that. And then just normal old flowers, perennial flowers, annual flowers. We don't have a ton of perennial flowers that grow here just because of our cool climate, but a lot of annual flowers that we do grow here, and then easy to save the seeds for. As you can see, I have a whole nother container full of seeds for those. And then I also have just some random tree and bush seeds I'm going to start, like elderberry. I've got apricot trees. They take a long time to grow from seed. And honestly, I don't think I'm going to attempt those this year. I'm really trying to just narrow it down to things that I really want to grow, and maybe keep the experimental things to just 1 or 2. And then I'll have more time to focus on what I need, but still get that little bit of fun in the garden. I just threw a bunch of my peas. I have big pea seeds. I just threw them in the extra containers for now. Most of those are going to hopefully get planted this year. As far as peas go, actually, I should say, is these are actually 2 different types of peas. So I have sugar snap peas, and then these are called a homesteader pea. So the sugar snap peas are my favorite for just quick eating off the vine. They're edible pods. You could eat the whole thing. And those are really sweet and really good. These are called a shelling pea. These are the homesteader one, which is my favorite variety of the shelling pea. And with the shelling peas, you actually let them grow till they're bigger, and then you don't eat the pod, you just eat the inside pea. If you let the sugar snap peas get as big that you shell them and you eat the pea, it's very bitter. They don't taste very good. Whereas the homesteader ones, you actually want it to get big, and it is still really sweet when it's that big size. So we're going to grow those 2 types of peas this year. And let's take a look over at our vegetable, because that's really going to be what I'm focusing on a lot this year. as well. I mean, of course, I'm going to be growing a lot of herbs and medicinal plants. With these vegetables, I've kind of narrowed it down over the last few years of what varieties I really like to grow. Of course, I'm going to grow a few different ones always, but I just wanted to share with you exactly what varieties I'm growing. And then also I can see and make sure that I have the seeds of those particular varieties. And if I don't, I can write them down of what I'm going to need to order or buy this year. So we'll start here with onions, because onions are the first things we're going to be starting right away. So other things can wait, but onions, I probably will be starting them in the next couple weeks, and I'm going to have to go buy them at the store. I don't think I can actually order any seeds. And for onions, we are in what's called, we need long day onions. There's generally two different types of onions. There's long day and short day, and I do think I have a video on that if you look back in my catalog. But basically, we need to grow the long day onions up here because we have the long days. And I just have some red onions. I don't have any white onion seeds. So I am going to have to go and pick up some white onion seeds. I actually don't really have a favorite variety of onions. If you guys have ones you really like to grow, let me know. I've tried to grow like the bigger ones, the Valencia or something like that, or ones that grow big. I generally just find any sort of white or yellow onion does generally good up here. So that's what I order. And then I have some greens, okay, so these photo boxes are good, but sometimes they're a little finicky. And actually, I will not lie, I have had some of these snaps snap off on me on a couple of these ones. So maybe they're not the best. Maybe I'm supposed to store them this way. I don't know. Why is this not going in? I don't know. Okay, so next we have the greens, which is like lettuce and spinach. So if we look in here, I have Swiss chard seeds. I don't think I'm gonna be growing Swiss chard this year. I grow it in my garden most every year, and we never really eat it. It goes to the chickens or the pigs. And this year, I'm just not gonna give space to things like that. I have the seeds, I'll keep them. Maybe in the future, I will grow them again. But this year, I'm just gonna try to give space to the things that I know we're really gonna eat, like romaine lettuce. These ones are some saved ones. These ones, this is a Paris White Coss, one of my favorite varieties to grow, or just this is like a green gem, which is a container variety. So that means you're able to grow in a container, which you can probably grow most lettuce in a container. It just likes a lot of water, so make sure you keep it watered. But I find it kind of means it's kind of a smaller size lettuce, which is nice to grow in, even the raised beds. And then I just have a whole bunch of random varieties. So I don't think I'm going to need to order any lettuce this year. I'm just going to try to really use up all of the seeds that I have. And these are all just going to be random. I'm just going to order what's in here. So these have melons. Melons are very hard to grow up here. I have been successful a few years with some small melons about that size. I think there was a cantaloupe that was really good. So I'm going to just grow what I have in here again. Try to maybe grow them in my little high tunnel because it's going to be a little bit warmer in there. And of course, another tip, which I've said many times, is that when you're growing things in this short season, you want to find ones that have a short days to maturity. So a lot of melons have 100+ days to maturity. I mean, we're not going to grow big watermelons. Maybe you can, but in general, it's harder to grow that. So you want to grow like there's a northern melon in here, or things that are more adapted to our climate, things that have a much shorter growing season, just in order to set yourself up to have more success, really. Peppers, again, peppers can take a long time up here, but I have a lot of success with jalapenos. I think in here, if I open it up, yeah, you can see this is one that doesn't have a snap. They still fit in fine and sit all right. But these are jalapeno seeds that I saved from last year because I had a whole bunch that I started neglected in the garden, and they still did really well. So I'm hoping these will be some hardy jalapeno seeds. And again, for jalapenos, I just kind of order whatever variety I can find. I just have a whole bunch of random peppers that I bought over the years. So I'm going to try to grow a few of different varieties, but the jalapenos will be my main priority for those. Winter squash. They do actually pretty good here, even though they have a long growing season, like 100+ days. I think ours is just 100 days here-ish. But where I'm growing, zone 3, 4, we are just west of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So we have long days in the summer. It's getting dark maybe at past 11 o'clock, and it's light at 4 in the morning. So I think that really helps us to get those extra degrees of sunlight, those extra sun on light onto these plants, so we can grow some of these longer day things. So the squashes do pretty good. I always just like to do the sugar pie pumpkins, and then I've had success with the Howden pumpkins as well. I've saved some seeds. And then in regards to non-pumpkin, like, we have the acorn squash, spaghetti squash. I've had pretty good success with a lot of those. We don't eat a lot of them, so I might only grow 1 or 2 plants, except the pumpkins. We have a lot of fun just to grow our own pumpkins to carve, and also pumpkin seeds, super healthy for you. So I actually had a variety I can't remember what they in here. They are, yes. I don't think I have any here. I might have to order some, or are these, yes. Actually, I do have them. They are the Lady Godiva Hulless pumpkin. So they actually have seeds that don't have the shell. They're a hulless, so then you don't have to roast them or anything. You can just eat those raw pumpkin seeds. So I am going to try to grow some more of those this year. I think I tried to grow them one year, and I think that was when I neglected my garden, so I didn't really see the true result. So we're going to grow those this year. This is just miscellaneous. I've got loofahs. I grew them one year. Again, a lot of work for very little reward. I'm not going to try that this year. Corn, I've done that as well. I might grow a little bit of corn. We have some varieties, again, that were developed for the area that you can grow. I did grow glass gem corn one year really successfully. But again, I think it was a popcorn yet, so you can use it as a popcorn. We never really did a whole lot with it, so I'm not going to give a lot of space to that this year. Here, I'll jump over here because these are all my root vegetables, which do super good here. I'm going to grow a lot of root vegetables. They can store, you can store them. You can pickle some of them. And then I have the second one just for my carrots, because carrots are one of my favorite garden vegetable. In regards to carrots, my favorite variety are called Scarlet Nantes, Scarlet Nance, however you pronounce it. They're super sweet. They grow pretty big, and they're just delicious. So I'm going to grow a bunch of those. As you can see, this is one of the bulk packets I picked up last year. This is a ton of carrot seeds. So carrot seeds are actually one of the ones that don't last a long time, but I still think they'll last a few years. I'm going to be growing most of those this year. I don't have to order any carrot seeds this year. I have enough of those. And then if we go through to the root vegetables, we have things like radishes, beets, turnips. I should go through here because over the last few years, I've learned to love beets. And one of my favorite beets are the golden beets. So I'm going to see if I have golden beet seeds because I really want to grow those. I have a ton of radish seeds. And with radish seeds, I really like, the French breakfast radishes are good. There is an Easter egg mix of radishes that has a kind of a purplish radish in it that over the years I've really liked, but I can never seem to find that radish on its own. Like I've tried an amethyst rabbit, there's amethyst radish, lady slipper radish, but they don't seem to taste the same. So I might just have to get the Easter egg mix and try to grow that again this year. I don't have any in here. I'm going to write that down because you know what? I do enjoy that. And I'm not a big radish fan. So anytime I can find a variety that kind of gets me onto that vegetable, I will do that. Easter egg radish. And then in regards to beets, for red beets, I just grow whatever red beets I can find. I do like the, I think they're called the Chicago beet, which is kind of like, it's got stripes in it. So I'm going to look for, oh yeah, here it is. This one here, it's Chiagia. I don't know how to pronounce that. But anyways, these are really good. I'm going to grow those. And I do have golden beet seeds. So we're going to grow those. I don't need to buy any beet seeds. Rutabagas, lots of those. Love growing those for my carrots and rutabaga at Christmas time. And these are another Normorsko rutabaga. So this is originally from Russia. I ordered these last year. Ooh, oh my gosh, now I have rutabaga seeds all over my table. It's okay, there's still enough in there. I'll just clean those ones up. We'll try that variety this year of rutabaga. So that's good. I don't have to order any seeds for those. Okay, this one is just random seeds. I got some cat grass in there, which I think is just oats, if I'm correct, and that's probably why I bought it. Yeah, they're just oats, which is what cat grass is, Avena sativa. We will grow probably some of that. The cats like the catnip and the valerian root. They're just going to have, maybe I should plant a little kitty garden this year. Okay, next we have is pole beans and dry beans. They take a bit of a longer season and we don't eat a lot of them, so I'm not going to grow a ton this year, except I have these, which I've saved over the years. These are just question mark beans. Oh, I think I put them in my extra thing, but they're called Cascade Lemonade beans. Those we've really enjoyed. They're a pole bean. They grow really big and tall. They can get quite thick, but they're still tender and they have a good flavor. So I'm going to grow the Cascade Lemonade beans again. And I see I have some Lazy Housewife, which I've heard these to be recommended as a green pole bean. I'm going to grow those. We'd like mostly is the bush beans, and I probably have them right here. Yes, bush beans. So we're bush beans, they grow in just a smaller bush, and then we pick them fresh eating and pickling. They're really good for that. So I'm going to see my favorite green bean that I found over the year is called Provider. I've just found out of all of them, like there's a ton of different varieties, but for me, I did an experiment and I side by side, and they seemed to grow the most on a plant. Like they had quite a bit of production, and they also had a good flavor, and they were also easy to pick. Sometimes they're like really hidden underneath. These ones just seemed really easy to access. So I have Strike, Contender, as you can see, lots of different ones, and Provider. Yes, so I do have a whole bag of those ones, 2 of them actually, and those will be good. So we don't have to order. I also actually do like yellow beans. Again, any variety. I haven't really found anything of favorite yellow variety, so I'll grow yellow ones. I do also like the purple beans. I don't have any in here, so I'm gonna get a purple bean again. Any variety really for me. I have these pale lavender gray semi-bush beans. Looks like I ordered these last year or bought them at the seed swap. So maybe we'll try to grow some of those as one of my experimenty things. In the past too, I've tried to like grow 20 of something new. So this year I'm gonna really bring myself in, please hold me to it, and just grow 1 pot or 2 pots of a new variety. Okay, so I skipped over here is the summer squash. That's things like zucchini. Yellow zucchinis are our favorite, and so I can see all the way. I have yellow called a golden zucchini. I have green zucchinis, and also the patty pan squashes. We really actually did enjoy those. This is just a random variety. It looks of different ones. I do like the yellow patty pans. They just seem to have a little bit, not as quite of that bitter flavor, so I might order. Actually, I'm not going to order because it tastes very similar to the normal zucchinis. I'm just going to grow the normal yellow zucchinis this year. Okay, then we have tomatillos and okra. I used to have these with my tomatoes, but that one's pretty full. So tomatillos is one of my favorite things. Well, I've never grown a green tomatillo. We don't really eat much of those, but the yellow tomatillos I have fallen in love with. And the Queen of Malinalco. This is one of my favorite things to grow in the garden. If you've ever grown ground cherries, I'm going to look because I don't know. Yeah, I guess we have enough seeds for this year. I also have this Amarilla tomatillo, another yellow one. It's not as sweet. It's a bit more sour than this Queen of Malinalco, so I'm going to grow the Queen of Malinalco. They're like a big ground cherry. If you ever grown ground cherries, these things are really good size, delicious flavor. Like I eat them mostly just fresh out of the garden. I haven't gotten any into the house, which I'd like to try this year because I want to make a jam out of them. So I'm going to actually dedicate quite a few plants. I've only usually grown 1 or 2 plants. Maybe I might grow a few of those plants this year because they're really good. As far as okra goes, I've tried a few years. I've never really put a lot of heart and soul into it, but I have these seeds, so I'm going to try to grow okra. So this is a Cajun Jewel. It's called okra. It's supposed to be for northern growers. I'm going to try to really grow that this year because while we don't eat a lot of okra, I know my mother-in-law does, and also it's very healthy for you. And I'm trying to, grow garden for my health. So we'll try to do that. And then we have brassicas. So those are things like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage. I have a lot of success with cabbage. So this is kohlrabi. I've tried to grow it over the last couple years, never had a ton of success. But I have a recipe that you actually use kohlrabi and you make a quick pickle with that and some cucumbers, and you make kind of this banh mi style steak sandwich. Delicious. So I want to grow some this year so I can make them in that recipe. And then for cabbage, Tiara, this is a really, really good variety. They're super early and quick, a little bit on the smaller side, but you get that fresh cabbage taste early. And so I'm going to grow those. And then really just any kind of, I think it's Copenhagen market cabbage is the one I've always grown for the larger cabbages. Super easy to grow. As far as kale, kale's a brassica. I said this every year. I grow it, super easy to grow. We'll use it for a couple of chips, kale chips. Or actually last year in my neglected garden, I left the kale in really late, multiple frosts, and I did eat it fresh a couple days and it was really sweet. So I think kale might be something better off grown in the fall or spring. Like spring garden, it's not going to get super big. So I think a fall garden kale, maybe I'll try to do something for that this year, but Brussels sprouts take a long time. Never really had any success with those. This is Golden Beauty. So this is a Chinese cabbage. I've grown it, supposed to make kimchi with it. Grows super easy, super well. Never really finished the product on that. We've used it to fry up in some stir fries and such. I'm not sure, jury's out if I'm going to grow that one. Never had a lot of success with cauliflower. I think there was like an early snowball cauliflower people try. But this for broccoli, this is the Sun King hybrid. This is one of my favorites. I've had a lot of success with that one. Now I'm going to say with all brassicas, you have the cabbage moth, that white little moth, and then gets the cabbage worm and it will decimate your brassicas, or you're going to be eating the worms. So you should cover them. I've been kind of lazy in covering them. I've lost before in the past, but if you start early enough in the spring, or we have a cool spring, I've lucked out and not had to deal with these pests. But this year I want to grow a lot of this stuff, and I really don't want to be dealing with the bugs. So I'm going to try to really do some cover this year. So hopefully that will work really well. With regard to the broccoli, you can have problems if it gets too warm with it and bolting it, going to seed too early. I mean, you can eat the broccoli flowers, you can eat the seeds, that kind of stuff. But if you can do it in the spring and get a little bit of an early harvest, then you can beat all that. So that's for my brassicas. Yeah, basically mostly just the cabbage and the broccoli is what I'm going to grow out of those ones. Okay, and then next we have cucumbers. Cucumbers are going to be a big part of the garden this year because, of course, I want to make pickles. I do have some cucamelon seeds. I've grown these in the past. I like them. They're just like little small. They almost taste like a watermelon rind to me, but a nice little fresh snack in the garden. We're going to grow those. You don't get a ton of them. They're not super prolific, but that's okay. We can still grow them and have a little bit. Now, in regards to cucumbers, my favorite are these Cool Breeze hybrid. These things will grow and grow and grow and outproduce anything else I've ever grown. And when it comes to trying to produce a lot in your garden, it's important. I do like to grow heirlooms too, but in regards to like the amount of work you're putting in and what you're trying to get out, I really don't mind growing a hybrid because I know I'm going to get a lot out of it. So these Cool Breeze I'm going to be growing this year. I don't need to order seeds. I also bought these last year at King of the Castle. They're another hybrid. I'll try them this year because I have a whole bunch of seeds. And then in regards to the longer cucumbers, this Green Dragon I have found to be really good, or any sort of the Asian cucumbers, because I'd find they're not as bitter as, say, a long English cucumber you grow in your garden. I think in regards to a lot of things like with the lettuce, the cucumbers, the bitterness kind of can come from lack of water too. So just really make sure that you're watering a lot of these things. And then I have just random, there's a little potato cucumber, a dragon's egg cucumber. I'm probably going to grow maybe one or two of each because those are fun to grow. But the main staple is going to be those pickling cucumbers so that we can get a lot of pickles this year. And last but definitely not least is the tomatoes. And as you can see, it's quite full. Tomatoes are kind of one of the gateway vegetables, I think, to gardening because there are so many varieties. So many varieties. Just when you think, them all, there's way more. Like, you'll never know them all. So I have over the years tried to grow a lot of different ones. This year I am going to be focusing on a paste tomato, or a tomato that I can use for sauces. And in regards to that, it's just a Roma. Basic old Roma tomato grows really, really good here. The other one I really like is called the Hungarian Heart, and they're a big ox heart and they're very meaty and they grow really good here as well. So I'm going to make sure I have Hungarian Heart in here, and and then my favorite. This is something I grow every year in my garden, and that's the Tiny Tim. These are just little tiny plants and they produce so many little red cherry tomatoes, and they're cute. They're so cute to grow and they grow really easily. Probably going to grow some in my deck this year because I actually have a deck where I can put some, planters and such. So that will be really fun to grow. I don't need to get seeds for that. And then other than that, I'm just going to grow whatever kind of seeds I have in here. I have a ton. Okay, here we go again. Sun Gold. These are another one that I grow every year. I have seeds for that, thankfully. If you've been around here a lot, you've heard me say that I'm not really a big fresh eating tomato fan. I like tomato sauces, I like tomato products, but I don't really like to eat them fresh, except the Sun Golds. That's what kind of got me onto eating a fresh tomato. They're really good. They're kind of sweet. They have a thinner skin, and I will eat, I'm not going to go and eat 20 of them, but I will eat 2 or 3 of them out in the garden. And then the other one I actually have found I really enjoy is this Amethyst Cream. So I'll be growing those. I still have a few seeds. These are from the Seed Swap. If you have a Seed Swap in your area, it's called Seedy Sunday. They have them a lot of places in Canada. There's one in Edmonton in March that I go to every year. It's gotten really busy over the past few years, but it's really great. They have a ton of smaller seed companies, a lot of local ones that you can get seeds from that are great because, the locally adapted seeds. And then they also will have a seed swap area where you can take, packages of seeds you don't need anymore, or seeds that you've saved, and you can put them there, and however they sort it and separate it. And then you can go and pick them. You kind of go down the line and you pick up seeds that people have put there and things you don't have or things you're looking for. It's been really fun because then again, you get seeds like these that local people have saved from their garden that you can grow in your garden. So I'll definitely be going to that again this year. Of course, I'm not going to need tomato seeds, but I'm probably, because I've saved so much of stuff, I'm probably going to be able to empty out a lot of these bags and take them there for other people to grow. So I'm not going to probably grow the 30 plus varieties of tomatoes I've grown in the past. I'm just going to focus on those few varieties. Oh, actually, another thing that I have in here are called long keeper tomatoes. I'm going to try to grow again this year. They're tomatoes that don't actually ripen on the vine. You pick them green in the fall and then they'll ripen over the course of the winter. So I'm really going to try to grow those this year. I'm just trying to grow a lot of stuff that we can eat and utilize, and I'm going to be able to preserve in order to kind of offset that grocery budget. So those are most of my favorite varieties and kind of what my plans and what I'm thinking of growing in the garden this year. Of course, I'm sure I'm going to add more things. I have my little list of things that I need to get, and I'm looking at it, and I don't think I'm going to have to order anything. I think I'm just going to go to one of the greenhouses and be able to pick up all the seeds there. And then, of course, I can go to the seed swap in March and get whatever else I need or don't need. I'd love to know if you grow any of these varieties or what your favorite varieties are for growing, because I'm always open to growing new things and seeing what we can really produce in the garden. Thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll see you next time. Bye.